Much for joining our kickoff webinar for 2018. As you know, our DS Works Employment Program is one of the cornerstones of our NDSS programming at the National Down Syndrome Society. Thank you, Colleen. As Colleen pointed out, my name is Sarah Hartweir. I'm the President and CEO of the National Down Syndrome Society. And I'm also joined by some of my amazing colleagues here that help us make up our DS Works team, so you can get to know them. I'm sure they are 100% available day or night to answer your questions and start some conversations around how we can promote DS Works in your local communities. Today I'm joined by our DS Works Program Manager, Emily Kazmarzik. We also have our colleague Khadijah Farmer, who leads up our employment training and career placement efforts within DS Works. You heard from Colleen Hatcher, who's one of our community outreach and engagement manager here in our DC office, and then Ashley Helsing, who is our Director of Government Affairs at the National Down Syndrome Society. You know, as we go through today's webinar, we're really excited to share with you some of the new initiatives that we have in store for DS Works. I had the opportunity to take a look at our attendee list, and it's great to see some of our partners and some of our advocates that we've been working with throughout 2017, and it's great to see so many new names and faces that are part of today's conversation. Today's webinar, we really intend for you to receive a very broad view or broad overview of our DS Works Employment Program. The team is going to share different ways for you to get involved and engage and bring back DS Works to your local communities. Really the goal of DS Works is to show the world that people with Down syndrome are ready, willing, and able to work. And as we partner together and promote the successful stories, not just of our self-advocates around the country, but also our employment partners that are embracing people of all different abilities in the workforce. And so you'll hear more about some of our employer partnerships toward the end of the webinar. Our colleague Ashley Helsing is going to give you a broad overview of our legislative efforts, both at the federal and state level, that make up our new Law Syndrome campaign that we launched back in October. And the goal of Law Syndrome, as Ashley will really go into greater detail, is that Down syndrome does not hold individuals with Down syndrome back. It's really the law. And we have a lot of new proactive legislative priorities that are going to help us end Law Syndrome, and Ashley will share more details about that. We also have some new efforts and some new programming focused on employment training and career placement. Khadijah Farmer really leads these efforts for us, and so she'll talk through the process. Once you've identified an employer that is interested in starting the conversation about hiring individuals with disabilities and specifically Down syndrome in their place of employment, what are those next steps, and how can NDSS support you or your affiliate organization in creating a successful, competitive, and integrated employment opportunity? And then we're going to kick off the webinar to talk about the employment resources that are out there. And NDSS is really striving to create an employment repository of information out there where we're not just supporting the self-advocates to be successful. We're doing a lot of training with employers to create that successful partnership, and then how we can even start the focus of education and outreach and support early on for our younger self-advocates to allow them to have all the opportunities in the world to graduate from high school and or a post-secondary program and enter the workforce with a great employment opportunity, something they're passionate about. So I'll leave it here, and I just want to point out one important element of DS Works for us and for our self-advocates that are on staff at the National Down Syndrome Society. We view employment for individuals with Down syndrome. These aren't just jobs. We're creating careers for our self-advocates, and I'm very proud of the plan we have in store for 2018, and I'm really proud of this team. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our colleague Emily to kick things off. Thank you.
Good evening, Sarah. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction and synopsis over our DS Works Employment Program. I'm really excited to dive in and to explore with you and educate all of you about what we're going to be doing in 2018. We have a lot of fantastic opportunities in the months ahead, and I will say this is our first webinar of the year, and we are going to have one every month moving forward on various topics. So we're looking forward to learning more about the program and to educating everyone else about the program as well. And with that, we can just go on to the next slide, Colleen. So this is NDSS DS Works Employment Program. There really are four main pillars to this. As Sarah mentioned, there's employment resources, employment training, and career placement. These are the two pillars that my fantastic colleague, Khadijah Farmer, really owns and manages. Next is our End Loss Syndrome campaign that Sarah also mentioned that Ashley will talk a little bit more about later on. And our employer partnerships that we work together with various corporations, big and small, to help support them as they support us in leading the way of hiring individuals with Down syndrome and creating awareness within the workplace. And we're excited to introduce a few new partners this year and tell you more about that. Next slide, please.
All right, thank you, Emily, very much. And thank you, everyone who has taken the time to join us this evening during our webinar. My name is Khadijah Farmer, and as Sarah mentioned, I'm the Employment and Training Manager here at the National Down Syndrome Society. I'm very happy to be a part of this employment program. And again, as Sarah mentioned, showing the world that our individuals living with Down syndrome are ready, willing, and able to join an inclusive workforce. So I am really responsible, as Emily mentioned, for the employment resources and planning and placement, of self-advocates that come into our DS Works employment program. So when we get into the idea of employment resources and exactly what they are, first and foremost, I'd like to say that, it really is the foundation to set individuals up for success, the idea of joining inclusive workforce. So first and foremost, with the job descriptions, we need to go into this with the eyes of understanding that job descriptions can be extremely broad. They can be broad for anyone. So when we go into it, we want to keep in mind that these job descriptions need to be customized with the idea of really going into the organizations and looking at the types of jobs they have available, or careers, shall we say, for individuals that will be onboarded into their organization. So customizing really takes the idea of taking certain job descriptions away from already existing employees to create a mutually beneficial relationship between the individual joining the organization and the employers. From that point on, again, we want to set our self-advocates up to be as successful as possible. So with that, the resume templates are really, teaching our self-advocates how to create a resume is going to be key to their success. And might I say that creating a resume can be challenging for anyone. As we move forward with the idea of customized employment and exactly what that is, customized employment is the idea of taking an individual's skill set and matching them with organizations' needs to create what I like to call a perfect harmony. And again, having to be a situation that's where it's both beneficial to everyone involved. And then as we move forward, we're able to identify certain accommodations, so to speak, that the individual being onboarded into these organizations will require, such as a job coach. So it's clear that, as a person is onboarded into an organization, we would like for them to be as most independent as possible, but challenges do arise and accommodations need to be put into place. So the job coach really is put there to assist individuals with certain parts of tasks that they may or may not be getting stuck in, and really have it be a teaching moment from that point on. So in other words, instead of trying to teach a person how to do steps 1 through 6, which they already are efficient in, and they may get stuck in task 7, that's where we can teach, and really where the job coach can come in and be of most support. Next slide, please. When we start to get into the idea of employment training and career placement, this is what we like to call our roadmap to success. So of course, first and foremost, we need to be able to identify the position, and that can be challenging depending upon what we're talking about, what type of careers a person is looking to pursue. Once we're able to identify the position, we can then go in and customize it and then talk about different areas of, what type of employment or part-time or full-time work this person may or may not be looking for. When we get into the idea of internships, it really does give our self-advocates and the employers at hand a chance to really see how well of a match and how good of a fit it actually is. Moving along, we get into the idea of location. Is it something that is attainable for the person to be able to get to on an independent basis, or with other accommodations that, would need to be put into place? And then we go into finalizing that job description, really locking in exactly, giving a clear-cut idea of what the person is going to be responsible for with the idea of joining the organization. We then have a chance and opportunity to promote this with inside of our internal team, as well as reaching out to we have over 380 affiliates across the United States of America. And it really does make it almost seamless to find that perfect fit, as we know that a lot of our self-advocates are looking to pursue careers, as well as utilizing our social media channels to really just get the most out of the experience and be able to touch anyone and everyone who would be qualified for the position at hand. Next slide. Okay, and I think I'll turn it over to Ashley now.
Hi, everyone. If Ashley is not on the line, she was running in another meeting. So Emily, if you want to take this.
Of course. My apologies. I thought Ashley was on the line. So as Sarah mentioned before, loss syndrome is our legislative piece of the 4 pillars of our DS Works program. And so, like she mentioned, it's the law that really is holding them back. So at this point, we've introduced, it was launched last October, our loss syndrome campaign. You may have seen quite a bit about it. So what we're trying to do is educate employers about the new programs that are being introduced to fight the loss syndrome. So we will, there's more information about it online as well. But this is something that is incredibly important to us as far as our DX Works program is. So these gives these individuals the ability to progress in their career path. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Sorry, Emily. Hi, guys. I think we're having audio difficulties. Hold on while we fix the problem. I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. Sorry, we're still trying to figure this out. It looks like Emily might be back on.
Okay, I'm back on. I got kicked off for a moment, but I'm back on. My apologies. So, I'm just going to dive right back into our DS Works partnership. So we have three attacks on how we help partner, in which we have corporate partners, small business partners, and strategic partners. And what we do in this situation is we're here to provide all the support that you all need to move forward through a DS Works employment opportunity. So there's our technical support, marketing and promotion, professional development, and training opportunities. That's what Khadijah sort of touched on earlier with her customized employment and her training. And then as well as various DS Works scholarship opportunities that we can offer. So regardless of the size of your business, big or small, major corporations, small businesses within your community, we're able to provide that support, whether it's training, whether it's marketing on our social media pages, whether it's helping with resume building or job coaching, in various opportunities, even helping you place a candidate in various positions. We're here to support those efforts. Next slide, please. So a big roadblock that sometimes we run into is transportation. So there's a lot of various scholarships that we can offer through our employment program, and it's listed here below. We can either offer or you can even donate, or part of our the donations that we can have comes to go to these scholarships for these self-advocates throughout our employment program. So there's a transportation scholarship, career development scholarships, and apprentice scholarships. So all of these really benefit that self-advocate looking to find a meaningful career.
Right, and as we move forward, aside from assisting with empowering our self-advocates with things like building resumes and different skill set options, there's also this idea of assisting a person to be their most independent, right? So when we think about the idea of an individual with Down syndrome transitioning, say, from the school setting or day program setting, we really don't want there to be a roadblock of, and I'm going to go ahead and use the word burden on the parents to have to, think about the transportation of back and forth. How am I going to get, my young adult back and forth to work? And so this transportation scholarship really does kind of take it up a couple of notches with the idea of also empowering independence for the individual in question. There's not that idea or that fear that can come with, allowing a person or encouraging a person to become a little bit more independent with travel and to be travel trained to a point to where they can actually request a lift to, go back and forth to and from work, just like anyone else would have that same opportunity. Next slide.
So DS Works communication and marketing. So we're able to offer a lot of opportunity for your self-advocate and or your success stories from your community and from your business. So what we're trying to do, working with our communications team, specifically with Colleen, who's on the line as well, is highlighting and promoting a partnership that we have, and or highlighting and promoting a self-advocate that we're trying to focus on, and as well as the webinar series. So as I mentioned earlier on the beginning of the webinar, we're going to be doing these monthly. And we, as an organization, have our ideas and have our topics that we are trying to highlight. But also, if you ever have any suggestions, please contact someone on our DS Works team, and we'll be happy to learn more about what you're trying to educate yourselves on, and we can just educate the public on. So DS Works success story. So there is an area online that you can submit an online success story about your business, about an employment success story, about your self-advocate. And we always love to hear those. We are able to promote those on our social media and on our webpage. Next slide, please. So our webinar series, so it really starts from here, and then it moves on to our self-advocates, our staff, and we'll highlight small businesses, our partners, education, various roundtables, and as well as loss syndrome. So like I mentioned, any topic that you are looking to hear more about, please let us know, and we can jump right in and try to help and assist with that. Next slide. So C21. So C21 was a huge success last October when we launched it in DC. And so our goal now is to promote those and have those on a smaller scale all over the country. So we've just sort of handpicked a few cities that we're looking to have another C21 in. These are the cities that we have just kind of, they've either garnered interest or we thought would be a good opportunity based on our partnerships. So the goal is to replicate C21 in a local community, promote DS Works program as well as our loss syndrome campaign. And we will work together with the local affiliate, local media, as well as any like chamber leaders and whatnot. And we're really, really excited to continue the C21s. We've had a lot of fantastic feedback from our original one, so we're looking forward to bringing that towards you. Next slide. So our DS Works Employer Roundtables is a really exciting opportunity to bring together like-minded business owners, citywide leaders, to get together and have a discussion and have conversations about our employment program and how it can help their bottom line, how it can help bring in more self-advocates into our employment program. So what we're trying to do on a small scale is get together and convene and have these conversations of hiring individuals with intellectual disabilities. And so what we would do is we would have media come, we would have like I mentioned, local affiliates, self-advocate business owners, senators, U.S. representatives at the table and talking about how we can grow awareness in growing our DS Works Employer Roundtables. Next slide. And some of the partners that we've worked with are, the NHL, obviously a big one, Voya Financial, Blake Snow Shack, which is a small business from Sanger, Texas, which is in North Texas. Blake is the only self-advocate business owner in the state of Texas. Next slide.
I had the wonderful opportunity last summer of working with these two gentlemen that you see before you, Harrison and Q. To say that these gentlemen were less of phenomenal, I would be a complete understatement, to be completely honest with you. I was able to work with them both to acquire an internship with Alex Partners. Alex Partners is an amazing company that, as Emily mentioned, are like-minded with the idea of really just understanding that, in 2018, we really have to reverse the damage of premeditated stigmas and, you know, what they've done with with the idea of creating these employment barriers. So Harrison was first on the queue, if you will. No pun intended, but Harrison spent about 8 weeks with Alex Partners before he went back to college to finish his semesters there. And it was really cool because what it did was and to see if it was something that he was interested in pursuing. And we've actually heard word back that he's interested in going back for yet another internship this summer. Huming was also very much so interesting. Huming was coming from a different setting. He was coming from a rehabilitation setting and attempting to transition with the idea of pursuing a career. And like Harrison, he too wanted to just see if it was something that he was going to be interested in pursuing. Was office work something that was, you know, in his field? Was it something that he wanted to pursue? I'm happy and proud to say that both individuals have completed their internship at Alex Partners. And again, Harrison is actually going to go back in for a second run. So this is one example of, you know, basically the way that DS Works can work. Next slide. Freddie and Alexa, another one of my two at the top of my list of just sheer success. You know, when I think Emily mentioned just a couple of slides ago, the idea of the NHL being one of our very big partners, with the idea of, again, working with like-minded organizations to onboard self-advocates who are ready to pursue a career. Now, Freddie and Alexa had a genuine love of socializing. I like to call them social butterflies, if you will. And they were able to participate in the game day operations for the New Jersey Devils last year. And it was pretty cool. And again, showing the world that they're not only ready, willing, and able, but it's something that it's attainable, it's reachable. And their success stories, you know, aside from showing the world that they were ready, willing, and able, also afforded them the opportunity to become inspirations to other people who may not have necessarily thought that something like this was attainable for them. So our DS Works partnerships are, you know, absolute successes. And again, with empowering organizations to be able to support individuals with Down syndrome with the same familiar supports that they have been being supported with throughout the duration of their life, having that translate seamlessly over into the workplace really, really is the key to success. Next slide.
Thank you so much, Khadijah. So how to get involved in DS Works? There's a number of ways to make your success available to learn about from others. So share your employment success story. As I mentioned, there's an area on our website where you can submit your success story. And there's also an area on our website that you can take our employment survey. Become a strategic partner. Work with us to figure out what the best way to employ an individual with Down syndrome within your organization and within your community, as well as our roundtables. So like I mentioned with our roundtables, become part of those conversations with like-minded businesses. And the biggest thing I can really educate you all on as well is to advocate for our legislative agenda items and promote those items as well. So there's several ways to get involved. I would really recommend wholeheartedly always trying to share any of your success with us. We love to hear these stories. We love to help partner with you on promoting these stories and getting the word out about your success, whether it being hiring someone and or having someone that is interested in being hired. Next slide, please. So just looking ahead for 2018, DS Works really is working with so many companies, and these are just a handful of the companies that we look to partner with this year. Next slide, please. And just to wrap up today's webinar, I wanted to let you all know that there is an entrepreneurial scholarship, the Blake Pyron Entrepreneurial Scholarship. You can log in and sign up and to see if you qualify. As I mentioned, Blake is 20 years old. He's from Sanger, Texas. He owns his own snow shack. It's a mobile snow cone machine, if you will. Blake has been a fantastic advocate of ours and really has proven that DS works. So if you visit this link, you can sign up to be considered for the entrepreneurial scholarship. Next slide, please. And so this is us. This is our team. I am Emily Kazmarzik. I am a program manager for DS Works. Candy Pickard, our chief of staff. Khadijah Farmer, who was so helpful today in discussing training resources. Ashley Helsing is our director of government relations, and Colleen Hatcher, community outreach and engagement manager, who has is very integral in getting your success stories out there, as well as helping manage this webinar today. So if you all ever have any ideas or ever have any suggestions or questions, please reach out to one of us on our team, and we are so happy to help you with any of your DS Works employment needs or initiatives. So thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to kick off this 2018 webinar for DS Works, and we are looking forward to educating you more as the months and the year continue.
Thank you,
and
Emily.
thank you to my wonderful colleagues for helping me out today.
Thank you, Emily. We just have a couple of quick questions, if you and Khadijah wouldn't mind answering them before we hang up. A few people have asked, what is C21? So I know you went over that a couple of slides ago, but maybe if you just give a quick overview of C21 again, I think that would be helpful.
Oh, wow. C21 was absolutely awesome. When I think of it, I still get the goosebumps, and, my hairs kind of stand on. And really what C21 was, it was this concept that was devised by an amazing company by the name of Saatchi & Saatchi. Awesome, wonderful, phenomenal people over there at Saatchi & Saatchi. And what they did for us was they coined this idea, aside from, loss syndrome and, this idea that archaic barriers are really what hold individuals with Down syndrome back, not necessarily their Down syndrome, but the loss syndrome. C21 kind of was born. It was born into action. So C21 was a pop-up restaurant. And we'll be going on the road, so stay tuned if you missed the last one. But we had a pop-up restaurant pop up in Eastern Market out in Washington, D.C., and we had 30 self-advocates come out to D.C. During our Gettysburg Leadership Summit. And it was pretty cool because these advocates really did not know that they were going to be a part of a restaurant that was put together to show the world that people with Down syndrome are ready, willing, and able to make things happen. Right. So it was this idea of showing that with 4 hours of training that our self-advocates were actually able to manage, run, operate a restaurant that was built out of empty raw space out in Eastern Market out there in Washington, D.C. So it was really cool. And again, a monumental moment for me with the idea of seeing, what was a huge milestone, and knowing that this is going to be something that can continue. And it's something that I also use in my talking points when I'm talking to organizations who are thinking about onboarding self-advocates. It's like, listen, if these 30 self-advocates were able to come out with, 4 hours of training and make an entire restaurant kind of, run without a hitch, then imagine what, 4 months of an internship could turn into. Imagine what, for 40 weeks, or, the options are endless. But the point is that, when given the right opportunity, when given the right chances, when given the right tools, things can happen, and things can happen that we may have thought were completely out of our reach. So C21 was awesome. If you missed it, you can absolutely go on YouTube and just check out a little, kind of like a little teaser blurb about it. Very much so something to get to next time if you're able to.
That's great. Thank you, Khadijah. And everyone, just as a reminder, we will be sending the PowerPoints and the slide out. As always, the webinar will be posted on both our YouTube page and our website. And if you have any questions for anyone on our team, as Emily went through the team, please just reach out. You can find all of our emails at www.ndss.org. And of course, there you can find all of the information about DS Works as well. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emily and Khadijah, for leading such a great webinar, and we will see you all next month.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Colleen.